Okay, thanks.
There's quite a lot that has happened, but I will just go through briefly, and then I'll focus on the last 4 years. Well, what happened was that people always think that just because you are Christian or your family is Christian, everything is relatively smooth sailing for you, or you're able to, get through life in general without too much of challenges. But it wasn't really the same for my case, because actually since I was 17 years old, as what Pastor said, there's a lot of the devil did try to attack my family a lot. And when I was 17, I suddenly came down in a very depressive episode. I also don't know why it happened, but it occurred. I was in so much darkness. I just was very far away from God at that point in time. But the Lord sustained me. I was brought to I re-experienced God again when I went to a charismatic youth seminar from a friend. And that was when I really experienced God. Like, I realized that God is good, God is real, but also there's such thing as the devil, and he's out to get us if we don't watch our backs. So what happened was, when after I came out of the seminar, I was better. I had started to have a new faith in God. But the first night after that whole thing, I started to experience some spiritual disturbances. I remember trying to pray in my room, and the moment I closed my eyes, I felt like many things were watching me and like want to get me. And as I was praying, suddenly the aircon turned on and off. So at first I thought it was my imagination, but I continued. But the moment I rebuked it in the name of Jesus, it went away. So that's when I knew that there's such thing as evil powers. So that is one thing. The Lord helped me to get over my depressive phase in JC, and I moved on to university. So there were challenges there as well. But generally my university life was alright. After that I went to study to do law in Australia. I did a first degree in psychology, but I did law because two reasons. One practical reason was I graduated at a very bad time. I graduated in 2009, when Singapore was still recovering from the economic crisis, and jobs are very scarce. I remember I wanted to even get a job to man the 24-hour hotline at IMH. 3 a.m. slot also cannot get, that kind of thing. So I went to work for my father, who's a lawyer. I just helped him out on his firm, did some secretarial work. And that's when I started to say maybe I should do law, since that door was open for me. And it's because at that point in time I was trying to apply for master's programs in psychology, but the door was closed. Like, I was doing it halfway, and I wanted to go halfway, and then after that the program got shut down. So I did law in Australia. There was a point in time I also went through a lot of personal problems there, and also in 2009 my mother was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer, just when I was about to go to Australia to study, and her condition didn't get better. To be honest, I think the Lord, only thing that was helping her go through was the Lord, because she just kept getting worse, but like not worse, but after okay, then worse and okay, but it was not progressively better. So I was unable to really focus on my studies in Australia because of my mother's condition and also other things. But and there's one point it was very dark, but the Lord brought me through. So anyway, that's the first part of it. I will focus on the next 4 years since 2014. So what happened was, I came back from my studies in Australia, and I was working as a lawyer. And then my father, in late September last year, suddenly came down a massive stroke, perhaps caused by stress and also the inability to cope with the loss of my mom, and she passed away in 2014. So what happened was that the stroke was so bad that it completely destroyed his ability to express himself in speech, and also a bit of his cognitive functioning. I was working in a firm at that time, and because there was nobody to take over his files, his pending matters. He had a partner, but the partner and him run different accounts. So I had to quit my job in that firm that I was in to join my father. If not, how? I was worried that if I don't help out, I didn't want him to get into worse trouble. Because clients, they don't care if you're sick. They do not bother at all. They want what they want. That is the way it is. So I went there. Little did I know that it was much more challenging than I thought. Because I was only, I'm a junior lawyer. I'm only about 2 years in practice. My father is 40 years in practice. It was very difficult to fill issues. There was nobody to really help me. As in, the office manager was very helpful, but there was no other lawyer to help me. The other partner, in fact, made my life very difficult for no reason at all, even though he knew that my father was sick. Just because he asked me to sign something, and I didn't want to sign it because I said, I didn't see the client. Why should I sign it? I will get into trouble. You just want to use me as a shield, isn't it? That is when he got angry with me. And he made it so difficult in a sense that he even made it, I don't really want to go into technicalities, but he kind of like made it very difficult to pay the staff, to pay rent, and find the money was stuck. So I was very worried because I was like, how am I going to make sure the staff are paid, make sure rent is paid? Not just that, the legal issues also, the legal matters. So we just also all at the same time, my father's stroke, I was finding it very difficult to cope with it. I remember when he first came down with it, in the morning of that day he had a stroke, he was just talking to me normally. 1 or 2 hours later, after he spoke to me, suddenly I get a call. I say, hey, come to hospital, your father has fainted. I was hysterical in the A&E. I remember I was just like all over the place because I'm very close to my parents, especially my father. So it was really bad enough to lose my mother. And then now my father is like that. What am I going to do? How are we going to cope? I'm an only child, I have no one to help me. So that plus coping with that plus the work that ensued was very, very, very challenging. We had a few matters whereby it was difficult to handle because there was no proper instruction, and then we suddenly like started to get a lot of obstacles at the same time. Like because we do real estate from Sing, so the sale couldn't go through properly. It was stuck. Like suddenly our client had a lot of creditors coming after them, and then once you have a record in the, like, a creditor once the claim against you when you do the search, the sale cannot go through. The banks from the buyer side won't release the money because their interest will be affected. Then suddenly we had 2 cases like that. One of it was a winding up application filed against the company, and the other one was the tenants didn't want to move out and were sending lawyers letters, trying to do all kinds of things to my client. I didn't know how to handle because I'm like, wow, there's nobody to help me. So I prayed very hard. I said, God, just please let me get through it. I remember I was so stressed to the point until I couldn't sleep. Like in the middle of the night, I will wake up and I'll feel I feel like I couldn't breathe. In the morning, I also felt it. So the whole day I was feeling like that. It got to a point where I couldn't even take the public transport to work. I had to take like a taxi because the moment I get into public transport, I won't be able to breathe because it's like I'm feeling like this panicky thing already, and it's like so congested. So that was I think about 1 month or 2 months that I went through that. It was unbelievable. It was that plus my father plus the partner continuously making it difficult. And I remember also at that point in time, we needed to hire a domestic help to help at home because just my father and me. And I needed a letter from the other partner because he's the only other partner in the firm. My father couldn't sign or do anything at that point in time. And he deliberately flat out refused to help me with that letter. I had to go down to beg him. I said, you don't give me that letter. I cannot look after my father, Can you, yeah. All because he had some grudge against my father in the past that nobody knows of. So all this, I prayed. And then one day, one of my former bosses, he asked me to go to a cell group with him, his home cell group, because he says that He's trying to help me with the work. He also don't know how to help me. He cracked his head, sit down, brainstorm here, brainstorm there. We don't know how to solve it. And then he said, just come to the cell group. Okay, there's this visiting evangelist. Maybe he can help you. So when I went there was a prophecy, a word of prophecy over myself and my father, and said that anything that I'm facing now, the difficulties, it will just vanish. It will just go. So I had some renewed strength in that. And indeed, right after the prophecy, not long after, things started to work out. Somehow. First was the partner's attitude. He started to be softer, not so hard-headed. So finally, we managed to be able to get the staff paid and also get the rental paid. So the money started to move, wasn't stuck anymore. And all those difficult matters, I somehow managed to be able to solve it with very minimal help. Even because it was so complicated, not say very complicated, but I don't even know why the senior lawyers I spoke to, they also don't know what to do. They were telling me, and we were all just going to circular arguments. And I said, there's no solution. We are just talking about the same thing with different perspectives. It's not moving forward. But somehow all that got unraveled. And the client was happy with the outcome. Then this happened. Actually, the psalm that Pastor preached today, I found it very relevant because we had these very difficult people who came. They initially met up with my dad, who promised them a few things. But obviously now I can't give them what my father promised, because firstly, I don't really think it's right. I mean, yes, I'm a junior lawyer, but certain things we have different opinions. Okay, and I feel that I didn't really want to do it because a stirring in my heart said that whatever my father promised them may not be very, not say wrong or right, but not be suitable. They tried to hold me accountable to whatever my father promised them. And I said, I cannot, because my father is not here to verify. So first was okay. And then they were forcing me to do something for them. I remember it was a trust deed. I had another senior lawyer who called me suddenly and said, Phaedre, you better get the heck out of this thing. You will get into trouble. You better get out of it. I cannot let you go. I cannot, I must warn you about it. Try to get out of it. So I tried to get out of it. I tried to do whatever to get out of it, try to explain it to the client and all that. Everything seemed fine, they seemed okay. 1 month later, they called the office suddenly, wanting to speak to me and insisting to speak to me. I didn't want to handle them because they are very difficult people, and they also have their own drama, family drama that they want to drag me into. Another time they finally got hold of me and they said, you better speak to me. If not, actually we are planning to complain about you and sue you, I'm like, what? Sue me for what? Yeah, because you gave us very shoddy, unprofessional advice. Then I was thinking, the last time I spoke to you all, you were fine with the outcome. So fine as I was panicking, like, wow. I tried my best, I just told my family, these buggers want to sue me for what? And I was doing the right thing, They're just attacking me left, right and center. Then they finally came, and the reason why they were unhappy with my advice and said it was unprofessional, I was negligent, was because they went to seek the second opinion of this other lawyer, who was supposed to be a friend of my father, but he backstabbed me. He said that you better go and complain about her. She didn't give you good advice. She caused you to lose $2,000. She's not rich. I mean, it's not me, it's just the situation. I did warn them beforehand. I did even get other people to talk to them as well. First, then they say, okay, we will not sue you if you do this document for us. I said, I cannot do this document for you. There's a conflict. I prayed to God. I said, oh God, why are they attacking me now? I tried my best, and I just felt very attacked, I felt very cornered. So I prayed to God. And then suddenly there was a solution. Okay? They suddenly decided to go somewhere else and get that thing done, which actually I can tell you, no lawyer in Singapore will do it for them unless they're damn greedy for money, because it's not right. But many months later, I still continued to fear that they would lodge a law society complaint, because you see, how the complaint system works is that when someone lodges a complaint against you, you wouldn't know who lodged it. You just know it's there and it's pending, and nobody will tell you anything. So you just sit in fear for 3 to 6 months until your thing drops off. these people have really seared into me the attitude that this world is very, I mean, in this world we have to really